Welcome, everyone, to the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It's great to be here with all of you today. As always, joined alongside by Gavin Tony, and look at that, he's still got the Bryce Harper mug. As far as our predictions yesterday, I was 2-1. I guess Gavin was technically 2-0. I first predicted that Reese Hoskins would hit his first home run last night. I was right. I tried to find the clip in the video. I'll have to go back and watch it and pull it in so we can see it. Second prediction would be that the Phillies win. Gavin can show off that mug again. And then finally, the Lakers and the Trailblazers. We'll talk about all that in a minute, but I know Gavin's really excited for that. My hair's a little messy today, but I got my Flyers hat, so I'll be repping that once Chris joins the stream and gets in here. We might have Adam on as well today. So very exciting show coming up here. Again, stay tuned for some announcements as far as tomorrow's show. Might be a little earlier in the morning, might only be a half hour, but we're still going to get on here and provide some quality content. Gavin and I will debate a little bit as we always do. And then Friday, again, just stay tuned for when the show will be going live with Matt coming on there before his sound off to college. But first of all, Gavin, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Lakers fans, what's up? Zach, how are you? Where you guys at today?
I'm a proponent of LeBron, but go ahead.
Listen. You had a triple-double. You got 8 there. You still can't win. Listen, y'all. Listen. I'm happy, all right? For those who may or may not follow me on social media, I'm happy. I did a lot of talking last night. A Lakers fan had the nerve to ask if I was watching the game and then proceed to get angry at the end of the game. Zach, did you see how soft the game was last night? I know we're not talking Blazers right now, but guys, the Phillies won yesterday. The Trailblazers won yesterday. I'm happy. The Flyers won yesterday. Zach, how are you? Because I messaged you around like 11:30, 12 o'clock last night just to see if you were up. And you wasn't up. It's okay, though. It's okay, because you're going to hear it from today. You're okay. Cool.
Oh, I know. And, yeah, I mean, I have to just put that in the daily reminder that the NBA is still soft. But not happens, Gavin. I think it happened. We'll talk about it in just a minute here. But
it happened, and it's going to happen again.
I'm not a Lakers fan, Gavin. I'm just a big proponent for LeBron James. I think he's a great player, but I think last night it was a great game. And so we'll go to the box score in a minute here. There wasn't much around him to help out. He did have his triple-double, but those stats are useless if you can't win the game. But Trailblazers are a good team. LeBron's gonna have to really turn it up in this series more than he thought he would have had to, because it's different. It's the 8 seed and it's just a tough situation. But you know what? I mean, it's part of the bubble. That's the excitement of it.
Excuse me as I pull my notes up, but yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, no. So let's get to it. We'll start off today though. I called this yesterday too. Did I not say that Orlando was gonna beat Milwaukee yesterday?
You just said that. I said by 30, and you got by 12.
Yeah, so I mean that's what they won by. Orlando, surprisingly for a lot of people, beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Gavin, I'll let you go first here. What are some of your thoughts? The final score was 122 to 110. Vucevic had 35 points. Markelle Fultz had 15. Giannis had 31 and 17. So I don't know, Gavin. What are some of your thoughts on that?
First off, I want to say wow, just wow. Got the notes over here. Box score. Let me just read these points off. James Ennis, a former Sixers player, 11 points and 8 rebounds. Clark, 15 points. Vucevic, 35 and 14. Evan Fournier, 9 points. Markelle Fultz, the guy that shoots like this, 15. Terrence Ross, 18. DJ Augustine, 11. And then 4 and 4, and then the rest is 0. Okay. They outscored. They played well yesterday, and Vucevic played well. Played fantastic.
So a lot of points on that team.
There's a lot of points. Five or six players had over 10 points. 4 of them had over 15 points. And 1 had over 30 points, 30 plus points. There's no beating that. You look at Milwaukee's stat line, Giannis is the only player that had 30 plus, and only 2 other players had 15 plus points, and everybody else is just under 15 but over 10. And that's not that many high scores. Of course you're going to lose a game when you don't have that many people giving you 10 plus. Zach, the only way you win playoff games is 5 or 6 people can give you 10 plus points. You're going to have your guy that's going to get the 30 plus, or the 25 plus, but you got to have consistent scoring. The Bucks did not have it yesterday.
It's a fluke. It's won and lost. They'll end up winning the rest of the series. The Bucks are too good of a team to let this team get them. They're not gonna I don't think they're getting fret by this. I think it's just one tough game. It happens. Last year, what was it? They beat the Raptors in the first game. It was a buzzer beater from Evan Fournier, I believe. But I think at the end of the day, here's what's important. The Bucks are a better team. They're going to get out there. They're going to really turn on the gears now, and they're going to win the next 4 games.
No doubt, they're going to turn on the gas, and I think they're going to come out here and I don't want to say dominant game because now you can't overlook the Orlando Magic, but they're going to come out here. Giannis might drop 40 points this game. It's one of these situations where you're not getting
40 minutes too. I think they're going to really give it all they have the next game, blow them out, and then they'll win the next 3 games pretty handily as well.
Well, you also got to remember that Chris Middleton's no star in the playoffs. He's the Kyle Lowry of their team. Yeah, he had 14 points yesterday, but he just doesn't bring that X factor he gives during the year. So stay on the lookout for that.
I agree. We'll have to see what happens. But Gavin, anything else you want to say here on the Magic and the Bucks situation before we get to the other 8 team here in the bubble?
I think the Bucks are going to give it their all next game. I do see this going to 6. I think Orlando gets one more game against the Bucks, but not back to back.
All right, we'll see what happens. It's going to be exciting. We're looking forward to it. But Gavin, I know you want to really talk about now. What happened to the Trailblazers? What happened to the Lakers, I should say? The Trailblazers played a great game. I'm going to read here quickly before we get into it the stat line here. I'll pull up the game on the NBA app. 100-93. You have LeBron James, 23 points, 17 rebounds, 16 assists, 10 of them in the first quarter. Anthony Davis, 28 points, 11 rebounds. JaVale McGee only played 12 minutes, 6 points. Danny Green, 10 points. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, your starting point guard, 1 point. Kuzma had 14 in 30 minutes. I don't know why Caruso was playing. Damian Lillard was getting all over him. You had what? You had 14 points from Kuzma, 16, 21, 25 bench points yesterday for that team. It's not enough, obviously. Yeah. 6 points from JaVale McGee. You have 17 points from your non-superstars and 21 off the bench. Gavin, that's not – I mean, you can't – I mean, yeah, LeBron James did not have a really good efficiency early in the game. He had a 45% field goal percentage in the game with that, actually, with a 57% free throw percentage, 20% from 3, obviously not the best. 4 turnovers. He led the team in turnovers, but he was -3 for the game. Anthony Davis was -20. Now, before we get to the Trailblazers, Gavin, let's talk about the Lakers here. What went wrong?
What went wrong? Let me tell you what went wrong. First of all, Anthony Davis is not shooting the ball behind the arc well last night. All right? He wasn't doing it. The lack of talent around these guys is what's going to kill them. And if it's not the Trailblazers going to do it, it'll be somebody else. You got to look. LeBron played 41 minutes. Triple-double. Doesn't matter. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. Andy Davis played almost 40 minutes, 28 points, but he couldn't shoot the ball. JaVale McGee only had 6 points. Danny Green only had 10. There's no one else around the 2 stars to help them. J.R. Smith didn't play. Deion Waiters had like 4 or 5 fouls. Dwight Howard was in foul trouble as well. Marquise Morris, not no good Morris brother. I don't know what else you want me to say, Zach. There's just not enough around this team.
I don't know, man. This could be a fluke. It also could not be, but I don't know what happened. I mean, why is Alex Caruso chasing Damian Lillard around the court? That's a coaching mistake as well. I think that's going to be a big factor for this team. They were the 1 seed, but Gavin, it's been pretty much a whole offseason between the last time these guys played and the seedings the way they are. Obviously, Portland made their way into it, but Portland would probably be a 5 or a 4 seed right now if they're playing the way they are right now.
No doubt. And I'm speaking to Lakers fans right now, Zach. I'm speaking to Lakers fans only at this moment in time. I'm not no Trailblazers fan, all right? But don't you come up to me on my social media and say, but LeBron had a triple-double. It doesn't matter. 3 years ago, you guys said when the Warriors went 7-3-9, it doesn't matter because no rain, all right? So I'm going to turn the logic back on you guys. Doesn't matter because LeBron had triple-double. Doesn't matter. The Lakers are horrible. It's like outside of everybody who has, who do they got? You look at the Clippers. They got Lou Will outside Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Montrezl Harrell. Huh?
Patrick Beverley.
Pat Bev. Okay,
Marcus Morris, who's the best 3-point shooting this year.
Exactly. They can give you 20. If one of those guys needs to, Lou will give you 40. All right, then Lou Will can give you 40. And then you gotta look at the Blazers. You got Dame, 34. You got CJ that can snap for whenever he wants to. Don't forget about Melo. Melo turned back the clock. He did versus the Sixers. He had 20 versus the Sixers. And I'm speaking to this one Lakers fan in particular. He said that Yusuf Nurkic was not going to do anything against AD. Yusuf Nurkic looked like a baller last night. Hassan Whiteside had 5 blocks.
Rebounds.
Exactly. But Hassan Whiteside had 5 blocks. All right, the defense of the Trailblazers is there. This Lakers team looks scared. Zach, and this is when the softness comes in. This is where I get really irritated. Oh, well, LeBron's not part of the soft era. Yes, he is. Zach, there was a play where Hassan Whiteside's behind him, right? And he's grabbing Hassan Whiteside's trying to grab the ball by going over the back. LeBron's going to go like this and knock Whiteside over. That's not a foul, but LeBron's going to come down court. Someone taps him, and that's free throw shots. Come on now.
You know it's part of the game, though.
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
I mean, you know it's part of the game. That's unfortunately the reality of it.
That's the annoying part of the game.
He can't do anything about it. He's going to play into it if the refs are going to be like that. I tweet every night. This is your daily reminder. The NBA is so soft.
Look, ladies and gentlemen, before I end this segment or before Zach ends this segment, whoever gets the last word, I'm going to say this. Don't think if the Blazers lose this series, don't think I'm going to stop because I'll just wait for the next team to do it. You're not winning this year. You're not winning. You're not winning at all. Period. You're not winning. You can come on and say, oh, but Gavin, Steph Curry's not in the playoffs. I know that. See y'all next year. Oh, but there's no Ben Simmons. All right, cool. Zach, you know that as well. There's no Ben Simmons. You know the Sixers aren't going to go very well. We have high hopes, but we know that. I know my man Steph Curry was hurt for the whole year. No Klay Thompson either. Draymond Green looks average. But Zach, this is the reason why I consider Lakers fans and LeBron fans just as bad as Cowboys fans, and this is the reason why. They think everything's entitled for them. When Kobe passed away, sadly, I still haunts me to this day that that he's gone because legend and icon of the game is gone. They thought as soon as he passed away, Lakers fans thought, "Oh, this is entitled for us." They really did, and all honesty, if the Lakers were to win and honor Kobe for it, how am I supposed to be mad about that? I can't because I love Kobe as well. But it's the LeBron fans that come out and say, "Well, if he wins this one, he's better than Jordan." Look at the record in the finals. Never and look at how many 7-game series Jordan went to in the finals. None, exactly.
LeBron won the one that he was in.
Arguably.
Or 2, he won both of them.
And arguably too, Zach. Remember this. Jordan, right? If Jordan doesn't take that 18-month hiatus from the NBA, who knows how many rings Jordan would have? Y'all gotta remember this. Everybody's talking about LeBron's this, LeBron's that. Relax. This is soft era. Ladies and gentlemen, this is so soft.
2 Game 7s, 2-0 for LeBron in the NBA Finals. But with that being said, I mean, you're right. It is soft and it's frustrating to watch. I get the point, but there is really no help around LeBron James right now. I don't even know how they were the 1-2 this year, to be honest with you.
They shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be.
They won. I don't know how they did it, but I mean, maybe LeBron did good. They need to be able to really rise to the occasion. They really need to be able to do that. So I think that without a doubt, we're going to have to continue with that. But we are going to
Blazers in 4. No, wait. I'm sorry. I said the wrong number. I meant to say 5 or 6. Either one. You're not winning this series. Got into a heated argument with the Lakers saying last night. You guys not winning this. And if you do, you're going to get kicked out by the next round. Don't matter. You're going home.
We'll see what happens, though. We're going to have to continue with that in a little bit here, talking about it again. We're still continuing to go through the NBA playoffs. We're going to talk about the Phillies, and then we have 2 guests coming on for the Philadelphia Flyers in about 20 minutes. So make sure you're staying tuned for that. With all that being said, let's continue here. I'm going to go down the list of NBA playoff teams from last night. We're going to recap yesterday's games, and then we're going to go into today's. Obviously, we've already touched on both of the 8 seeds. But, Gavin, Miami Heat, Indiana Pacers. Jimmy Butler had 10 of his 28 points in the fourth quarter. TJ Warren did have a good game. But right now, they are currently sitting at 1-0 over Indiana. They won 113-101. Gavin, what are your thoughts on the Miami Heat?
Well, first of all the eyes are on, TJ Warren and Jimmy Butler, how they're going to, fare along against each other. But my eyes wasn't on that. My eyes were on Bam Adebayo and the supporting cast. Bam had 17 and 10. Gordon Dragic had 24. Tyler Hero had 15, and then Jimmy Butler had 28 to cap it off. But it's the supporting cast around these guys. Look, they're not going to make a deep run in the playoffs, Zach, but they're going to get out the first round. They're going to give the next team a little bit of problems.
No, we'll see what happens. The Pacers are a good team, but I think Sabonis
good
will win this. We'll go to that.
This can go to 7.
It's going to be an exciting series. And so next year, we're going to talk about here a mix of Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul's revenge series. Is Russell Westbrook currently out right now, but the Houston Rockets had no problem beating the Thunder yesterday. Going through the stat line here, you have Gallinari had 30 points, Chris Paul had 20, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander only had 9. Even guys like Dennis Schroeder had 6, who's a top runner for 6th man of the year. Now let's look at the winner. Ben McLemore off the bench had 14. You have James Harden at 37, no surprise. Eric Gordon, 21. Covington had 3. PJ Tucker, 11. Daniel House, not a pretty well-distributed team outside of Robert Covington. But, Gavin, are the Thunder even going to be a threat for the Rockets in this round, or is it already over?
If Russell Westbrook comes back, it's over. I'm still saying it's over. I'm going to say 5 because CP3. But, in all honesty, this team, the Thunder, could look, you could argue say Billy Donovan's coach of the year because if you look at what they have, they're not even supposed to be that high, and they are.
Yeah, doing a great job this year.
They're doing great. They're doing great things this year. But when it comes to playing against a guy, James Harden, who's playing ISO basketball, best 1v1 player, arguably, there's no debating about that. Or you can, but Zach, they don't have enough to compete with this team. They can't beat a hardened, a restless Rockets. Wait till Russ comes back. How are you going to compete with that? You can't. They don't got a big man. Zach, I know we talked about this. PJ Tucker had 11 points. You spaced the floor. Who played center? Robert Covington last night?
Last time was Covington.
Covington had 3, but he did a great job. How much does Steven Adams have? Steven Adams, he had 17 and 12. I expect that because you're supposed to, but it wasn't enough.
If you're a small ball team, you got to be able to do your job.
Look, the Rockets live and die by the 3. The Rockets live and die by the 3. Last night, the 3
they're living it right now, Gavin. I'll tell you that much.
Living it, no doubt. And wait till Russell Westbrook comes back because that changes the dynamic of that.
I agree. I think that they already have this series locked up. We're going to see what happens. I think the Thunder can take a game there. But Gavin, anything else on that before we move over now to today's games?
If Russell Westbrook comes back, it's over.
No, we'll have to see. I'm hoping for that as well. The Rockets, they could make some noise this year. I'm confident the Rockets can really do a good job. They look good. With that being said, Gavin, the Nets and the Raptors, this is my upset pick of the day. I think Karis LeVert or one of these guys is going to go off. I think they are going to beat the Raptors, and then the Raptors will obviously win the series. But I think the Nets are going to show some promise today. I think they have a good potential of winning. I've been pretty good on my upset picks so far, except for with the Lakers. But today I'm going to be going with the Brooklyn Nets over the Toronto Raptors.
Well, Karis LeVert had 15 and 15. And he realized, and in the play-in game or the last game of versus the Trailblazers, he had 30 points. If he does it again, I'm pretty sure the only reason why they lost last game, Zach, is Fred VanVleet. Brooklyn never led in that game at all, but Fred VanVleet was hitting his threes and Pascal Siakam did his thing. I think if you could get another person, we talked about this in the Sixers, if you can get someone else that give you 20 while Karis LeVert gives you 30, combined for almost 60-some points, 60 or more. That's all you need. And then you got your supporting cast, your 10, your 15. They could make a game. I see where you're going with this. I agree. I think they win today. But ultimately, Toronto still wins the series.
No doubt. So now the next game here, the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets. Conley's not playing tonight. He's going to play in Game 3, it's looking like. But if Utah doesn't win tonight, it's over, in my opinion. Utah's got to get a game, and then once Mike Conley comes back, they can have a potential to make a good push. But unless they win tonight, they're going to be done. It's going to be tough to come back from 2-0.
If the Jamal Murray of last Game 1 comes in Game 2, I think it's over. I think the series is over.
Do you think Donovan Mitchell can have another good game like he did?
He had 57 points and lost. That's back page news. No one cared.
Yeah, man. They don't have enough right there.
Don't have enough,
They had Ricky Rubio last year, and it still wasn't enough this year. You have Mike Conley, who looks like is an upgrade. But I said before, I said during the hiatus, I think not Ricky Rubio, but that Mike Conley would definitely be one of those guys that can benefit from the hiatus, given he's a little older. He's been struggling this year. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what Utah can do. I'm hoping for them to win, but I am taking Utah today.
Trent says Nuggets in 6. I agree with him. I don't think it's going to be a sweep, but I can see Nuggets in 6. Trent, we're going to have to get you back on here one day because we got to talk Sixers.
Definitely. And speaking of that, now the Philadelphia 76ers, we'll get back to them in a minute, but we will just do some predictions here. Sixers and Celtics, Gavin. Gordon Hayward is not playing today. Ben Simmons obviously is not playing as well. So I expect to see Matisse Thybulle in the starting lineup. Tobias to the 4, Richardson to the 3, Matisse to the 2, and I'm guessing you're starting Shake it to 1. Alec Burks should still be getting starter minutes. But Gavin, what are your thoughts on what the Sixers can do today in Game 2?
Hot take. Joel Embiid has 41 points today.
That's
41 points. That's my hot take.
That's a hot take?
That's a hot take. And why I say it's a hot take? Because if you're Boston, you know where the ball's going. But does Brett Brown know where the ball should go? That's why it's a hot take.
Zach, no, what happens? I'm hoping for it because if he gets 40, he should win.
In order for the Sixers to win today's game, you gotta get the ball to Joel Embiid.
And Tobias Harris needs to make his shots too.
And in order to win the series, Tobias Harris has to be able to help Embiid out. That's the dynamic duo right now. That's the 1-2 punch.
It has to be. You're both max players. You got to do it.
And B has to go off like Trent said. I agree. It's got to be 40. It's got to be 40 plus. It has to be. You can't like Joel Embiid did last game. That was cool, but you didn't get the win. Joel Embiid came back. He said, "I got to do more." I agree, Joel. You got to do more.
I agree. And so with that being said, Gavin, the final game tonight, the Mavericks and the Clippers, it was a close one. Kristaps Porzingis is expected to play the full game tonight, not getting ejected thanks to the soft NBA. But Gavin, Mavericks or Clippers in Game 2?
It was a good game for the Mavericks in the second quarter of that game. I think a lot of people say if Kristaps doesn't get suspended, not suspended, gets ejected, I think they win. I don't think so. I think the outcome is going to be the same because I think the momentum has already shifted to the Clippers. I wouldn't be surprised if Luka Doncic wins today's game, but ultimately, I'm going to stick with the safe pick. I'm going to go with the Clippers.
I'm going to go with the Mavericks. I think that if Porzingis stayed in, they would have been fine. They started to lose the lead at halftime before he was ejected, but I think he was really making threes early. I think he's going to be fine. I think tonight they're going to win the game. I don't think they're going to win the series, but I think it goes to at least 5 or 6 games. I like Dallas a lot, and we'll see what happens. And it just shows how deep and great the West is this year. It's really talented, and it's crazy.
I mean, you just gotta look at them. You gotta look at the Clippers and like this is a well-rounded team. All right, there's only a few well-rounded teams in this bubble. I look at the Nuggets and I look at the Clippers, and I'm like, well, these two teams they have a serious chances to go all the way. I'm not saying win, but they could go all the way. They can make deep runs in the playoffs. But going back to the night's game, I think the Clippers are the safe pick, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win their series in 5. I'm not counting Luka Doncic out. I think if Luka Doncic, if the NBA was normal, there was no COVID, and everybody just like a normal day, I think that if they had to go to Dallas, they would get a game or 2.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. That's the tough thing here. The home court advantage really isn't that much of a factor. And they're trying. NBA's trying a lot with the virtual fans and things like that, but we'll see what happens. So with that being said, Gavin, anything else you want to say on today's NBA games before we shift gears and start talking about our favorite, or not favorite, but our team in Philadelphia that at least did not disappoint yesterday, the Philadelphia Phillies?
It's going to be another great 4 games of basketball today.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for it.
That being said, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in for that segment. Our next segment here talking about the Philadelphia Phillies.
Blazers in 6.
To the Blazers in 6. All right, we'll see what happens. And then we'll be talking about the Flyers. Of course, I got my Flyers hat here. Really excited for that, but we'll get to all that and more after this. We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewer's choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode. Welcome back, everyone. We are continuing to spread the word for the Teespring as well as our face mask. We're continuing to explore different products, different designs. I'm working on the behind the scenes. So, as always,
Blazers in 6.
Exciting things to come up from there. But Gavin, the Phillies, we said they needed a win. They did not look good at first last night. Eflin had 8 strikeouts. I think he did. He looked good for the most part. But Rhys Hoskins had his first home run last night. It was an opposite field home run.
He almost missed it too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean the offense looked good last night. Defense came together at the end of the game, but I don't know, Gavin. How you feeling about the Phillies?
Feeling good. Zach, we talked about we got to win 2 games here. We got the first one, but we got to win the second one. Should have been no reason why we were struggling versus a horrible team, but I guess that's the role of the Phillies and how it gets done. Zach, going back to last night's game, Harper's 3-run bomb, all right, deep right center field, hits the empty seats. That was a great hit. You talk about Rhys Hoskins' home run. He almost missed it. I'm still not sold on Rhys Hoskins. I'm really not. Jake Arrieta looked decent. Looked good.
Eflin started last night. Yeah.
Yeah, Eflin.
Arrieta tonight, he'll actually do something. He looked good last start, but Eflin is not supposed to be your best pitcher, but he definitely did do his job last night.
Eflin has moments. I would say that he has his moments where he looks like a great starting pitcher, and then there's like another. Then he's like another Vince Velasquez. Where why is he out there? If he could stay somewhat consistent, I could see Joe sticking with him in the pitching rotation.
I honestly like the rotation right now when you're looking at Nola, Wheeler, Eflin, Arrieta. I guess Spencer Howard is the starter now. We're looking at it. It's starting to look a little more exciting. It's starting to look more promising now that things are starting to click. And the offense is getting more consistent. That's what I like to see.
The thing that battled the Phillies a lot last year was there's no runs. Wasn't able to put any runs on the board. This year we get runs, but we can't keep the lead. So Zach, if Joe Girardi, which he's starting to figure it out now, if Joe can continue to do what he's doing and trying to get this team right back on track, we talked about yesterday. They're only 2.5 games out of first place.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at the standings now. Actually, I got to pull them up here. With that win last night, I mean, the Phillies still sitting at third place. They are, well, first of all, the Red Sox 6-18. They're doing terrible, but Phillies are 1.5 games back. They are 9-9. They're at 500. The Marlins are 9-8. They're going to probably slip again. So the Phillies have to win. That's what they have to do. Pretty simple. I mean, yeah, they got to win, but
pretty simple, but it's hard.
You got to take Arrieta pitching tonight. There's no reason you shouldn't win. So I think definitely that's going to be one of the biggest factors for this team is can they win? Can they put the runs on the board? And can the defense back them up?
I just hope so. I just hope this team can get on track. We go to Atlanta pretty soon. And
next week you play 2 games against the Blue Jays and then you go to Atlanta.
And that's going to determine a lot of things for us. So, one, I hope everybody can stay healthy and we can keep this train rolling.
I hope so, because if they don't, then we got some problems. But 9-9, I'm happy. They're 500 is better than what we could have asked for so far, considering how we started the year 1-2 against Miami.
I see when we talk about Miami, we talk about Baltimore. Those are teams that have been consistently bad,
and you got to beat them. And you lost. Again, you lost 5 games. If you win the games you're supposed to win, even if you just win the series of both of them, you win 2 games, 3 more games, you're in first place in the division right now.
Like the same thing with you can make the argument and say the same thing versus when they played Baltimore. They're supposed to beat them.
Got swept.
They did. And you but you want to turn around and beat the Mets. The Boston Red Sox are 6-18. 6-18 or 6-17. And if you lose to Boston, they're considered a bad team. If you would lose to teams like the Yankees, which you split with, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine.
You didn't play the Rays yet, but you're probably going to beat the Rays somehow, some way. If you beat those teams, why can't we beat up them bad teams? That's what the Dodgers do. They beat up on good and bad. But their divisions are garbage a lot, so they beat up on all bad teams. You gotta be able to play both sides. You gotta be able to do it.
It's tough. I mean, you really break it down. You look at a few different things. I mean, it's got to be consistency is what we're talking about. And so, I mean, let's take a look here. I'm going to pull up the Phillies schedule, looking at how many runs they've put up in the past few games because they've been doing it. They've been consistent on that end. It's just can you continue with that because you're playing bad teams. Like you got 13 runs yesterday, then 6 runs, 6 runs, 6 runs. 4 runs against Baltimore, you give up 11. 4 runs against Baltimore, you give up 5. 9 runs, you give up 10. 13, you get shut out by the Braves. It's by 2. You shut out the Braves. That's game's postponed. 5 runs against the Yankees, 1 run against the Yankees, 11 runs against the Yankees. They've been, I mean, we're talking about 2 out of 3 games where they're putting them more than 5, 6 runs. That's pretty good right now. It's going to be a crazy year statistically because of the shortened season, but we'll have to see what happens from there.
Even in the Baltimore series, we were scoring like 10-plus runs in one game. And we did that consistently a lot this year, so I'm happy. Just keep it up, and we got to keep the bullpen somewhat under control. That's the only downfall so far is the bullpen.
Yeah, you got to figure out ways to get that bullpen consistent because the starting pitching is looking better. Gav, I know you talked about Aaron Nola a lot. You called him not an ace early in the year, but he's.
And I apologize. No,
I know. But he's starting to look better now. They're starting to look like a good team, and I mean, unfortunately, early in the year was a rough start for him. Zach Wheeler's looked phenomenal. Jake Arrieta's looked a lot better his past 2 starts. I'm excited for what this team can do. I'm not going to get my hopes up too high, but for now, the mug stays. I guess that's our new saying is the mug stays.
The mug stays. As soon as they start losing, the mug disappears. And I know that may seem a little bandwagonish, but in all honesty, it's just me trying to not get mad every time I look over to take a sip of water.
No, I agree, but it's something this team needs to do. I think that it's so important for this team to be able to stick to consistency. I mean, Joe Girardi, you said, like, Joe Girardi gets out there, he's putting the hook in for the pitcher. He knows he's calling on someone who maybe not be able to do it, but it's unfortunate. So we're not. I mean, at least this year we're not blaming the manager. Hopefully we can maintain a little bit so that we can go from there and we can actually be able to be successful. Because if we can't, then I mean, this year's. I'm not gonna say this year's a waste, but looking at the standings again here, I'm gonna pull them up on my screen. Phillies are 9-9. The Brewers are 10-11, so we're ahead of them in the standings as far as that. The Rockies are 13-10. They're a wild card team. So if the season ended today, it'd be Miami versus Colorado. So if we can jump them, we're in that opportunity for that play-in wild card game, which actually has been in the MLB for a few years. We're talking about the play-ins with the Blazers and the Grizzlies, but it's been happening for a few years in the MLB. So they could be in that game. You can put Nola in, and if he can deal and if the offense can do their job, then I think you're in a really good position.
If push comes to shove, we're going to start using starting pitchers as closers, but I like it. I like what's going on so far.
I hope so. I mean, I think we should make some moves. I don't know what the trade deadline is. I got to look into that, but I hope that we can definitely.
Coming up pretty soon. Coming up very fast.
Yeah, so I think that they should look into getting a few role players. Like last year we did that. We brought like Drew Smiley and a few other guys. For those who don't remember, I think that we just have to be able to do the right thing. And I think from there, then you're sold.
We just need some bullpen arms, and I think the offense can continue doing what they're doing, stay consistent. Because that was another thing last year. Offense will score runs, and then you couldn't get no more runs for the next 2 weeks from them. So stay consistent. That's the number one thing, and go from there.
No doubt. I'm hoping for it. You play tonight, Gavin. Are you expecting a win tonight against Boston?
I hope so. I need a win from at least one of the 2 teams playing today.
3.
So, three teams.
The Flyers play today, yeah.
So I need a win from one of the 3. So make it happen.
I hope so. I mean, we hope if they win today, they sweep the Red Sox, and then they go to Buffalo. How many games do you think they're taking from the Blue Jays here?
That should be 2 as well. It's a 2 or 3 game series.
It's a 2-game series. And then they go to Atlanta.
I expect you gotta go 4-0 in these first 2 games, and then you can go to Atlanta and trade blows with the home team.
I mean, if we can take 1 or 2 of those games, and you're in a good situation. I'll put it that way. And then from there, they'll be sold. They're going to be a team that can put it together. You get a few more pitchers. Like we like this offense a lot. JT Realmuto is probably the best player in baseball right now. He really should be in the MVP conversation for the NL. He's putting up fantastic numbers. Again, Hoskins, we know. Hopefully he'll do his job. Segura at second, I like. We love DD at short. Alec Boehm's been doing a great job so far. Credit to him. I'm glad they called him up finally. Obviously, Bryce he's doing a lot more than what he usually does. His batting average is great right now. His numbers-wise, his defense is getting better. Roman Quinn, who had that coronavirus scare, unfortunately, he tested negative, so we're good from there. And then you got a guy like Jay Bruce and even Andrew McCutchen out in left field. I'm liking how this team looks. This is starting to be a solidified form for the next few years. Again, I give them 5 years as their window for the World Series.
5 years, and Joe Girardi has to be the man at the helm for it.
I hope so. He's got the experience, that's for sure.
Just gets unlucky at the end of games. That's all I'm going to put it at right there. Just gets unlucky.
No, definitely. So here we are still waiting for our special guest to come in here as he is pulling in now. We are going to be discussing the Flyers and a whole lot more with him as they won yesterday. Carter Hart back-to-back shutouts. All that and more right after this. Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this. And again, Gavin and I still discussing that the Sixers organization was able to share yesterday what they're going to be supporting for Foundation. So we're still looking into that as we continue here. Thanks so much for the continued support. And now a previous guest we've had on the show before, Chris. We are bringing him in now. Chris, it's great to have you on again. I know last time we were here, the Flyers were up 1-0 in the series, and then we haven't had you on since Game 1. Then we had 2, 3, and 4 so far. They're looking like a great team right now. I know that we're going to ask you a few questions. You can definitely give us more details. But first of all, how are you? And it's great to have you on the show again.
I'm doing good, guys. One thing I want to ask is, are you guys able to hear me good? I just want to make sure.
You're a little low.
A little low. Okay. Is that better?
Probably a little more.
A little more. Better?
That's good. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, again, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Yeah, so, 3 more games go by. Game 2 was terrible. That's one thing I'll say. Games 3 and 4, they look really good. I mean, they get back-to-back shutouts, so I think they're playing good, and I think that they'll close it out tonight.
So you think it's over for Canada today? You think they're going to get shut out again today, or you think they're going to give up a goal today?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of tough like that to predict with hockey, with shutouts and such. I mean, if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if the Canadians get maybe 1 or 2. I think it's going to be more of an offensive game than it's been. Probably the most offensive game out of all of them. I guess for the Flyers' perspective, because they've had their chances, I feel like they don't shoot enough. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I could honestly see it being maybe like a 4-2, 4-3 kind of thing. I mean, the Canadians are on the brink of elimination, so they're going to be coming at you hard. But again, I really think the Flyers are going to really take care of business. I think they're going to be fine just with shutting them down, and the way that they've played defensively in the last 2 games. It's been huge.
So I got to ask you a question. The last time you were on here, you stressed power plays.
Mm-hmm.
We're still not scoring efficiently on the power play. So what's going on?
I don't know. Yesterday, it was a huge improvement from the other games. I will say that. They moved the puck well. They just can't get the finish. I think this team has no puck luck whatsoever. It's not even funny. Yesterday was a huge improvement. The Game 3, they were horrible. Absolutely horrible on the power play. They had a 4-minute power play in the first period. And I think they had 2 shots on it in the 4 minutes. That is terrible. If anything, you should have 5 or 6 shots on that power play. They had 2. And those 2 shots came in the last 2 minutes of the power play. So that right there shows you. To be honest, I think they want the perfect play a lot. They can't get into the zone comfortably. A lot of the times in the Game 3, they would lose the faceoff. And when you lose the faceoff and they get it down the ice, you have to regroup and go all the way back in again. So when you can't really get into the zone well, then you're kind of screwed if you lose the faceoff. I thought the one thing they did yesterday really good was they won, I think, every offensive zone faceoff when they had the power play. I think they lost 1, but they got in the zone quickly, and they were able to set up again. So again, excuse me, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they've been doing good at just winning the faceoff and then just setting it up in the zone. I think that's been fine, but I think their biggest problem is the second unit isn't able to get in the zone. I think they do too much at the line. And, to be honest, I think it's more of once you get down to those 30, 40 seconds when the second unit comes out there, then the penalty kill starts to really get hyped up again, and they ended up just clearing it, and then it ends up being it, and then it ends up being it for the power play. But I think yesterday they had a lot of chances. It seemed like because before the game they showed that the unit was the power play unit itself, the first unit, they were all huddled before the game with the whiteboard drawing some things up and things like that. And a lot of the things they did, I thought worked because if you have watched the games, and I know you guys like hockey and stuff. Well, to be honest, it seems like now with no fans and such, they have really live boards. So like if you so say you shoot a puck off the boards, that can honestly come flying back out. So what the Flyers were doing yesterday is Giroux would kind of throw passes off those boards behind it, and it would come out in front for Voracek to kind of throw it to the net. So they did that a couple times. They ended up getting a couple scoring chances, but they couldn't really get anything to go in the net. I feel like they have to get more guys in traffic in front as well. But again, I think there's a lot of things that they should change. But I thought yesterday was a huge improvement from the last 2 games and really the whole series. I thought yesterday's power play was actually better. Was the most efficient power play we saw out of this whole tournament, going back from the exhibition game to the round robin and such, where it was just, I feel like that was their most improved this whole time.
No, I agree. I think they had won yesterday. They converted on. I mean, like you said, they're looking better. They're moving the puck better, and so they're just not able to finish. And it's It's crazy to think about because if you look at the stats, I don't know if it applies after yesterday's game, but the Canadians have what 5 or 6 goals total in the series against the Flyers, and I mean they have. There's a cell phone, Gavin. You know a lot about that, but as far as that's concerned, they're getting outshot a lot on goal. They're getting a lot of plays like that. So what does that say about the offense? But more importantly, what's it say about the defense and how great Carter Hart's been?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not really I'm not too worried about it. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is they're I feel like they're getting chances, they just don't shoot enough, and that kind of leads into everything. As for the defense, they've been fantastic, and I think the reason why Hart's been doing so good is because the Canadians don't have many high quality chances. Yeah, they get shots on goal, but everything's to the outside. I feel like I think I talked to you guys about this the other day, where literally, I mean, everything is not in a prime scoring area. Everything is along the boards, and they have to fight for every puck. To be honest, the last 2 games the Flyers have played, where they basically have 3 defensemen back there. They have one of the forwards get back on the rush. Seriously, watch the game tonight, and you'll notice that they'll have a guy on the forecheck go right back, and they basically play like 3 defensemen because they're more physical on the boards and they move the puck straight out. It doesn't really generate into many chances because in Game 3, Carey Price was playing the puck a lot behind the net, and what that does, it slows down your forecheck because he's just giving it right back to their defenseman, and they're out the zone the other way. So then you got to get back on defense. So again, I think the Flyers did a good job in Game 4 of limiting Price of playing the puck, and I think that was huge for him because, again, the Flyers were able to generate more chances. It seems like they get a lot of chances in the first, but the game for them offensively has slowed down in the second and third these last 2 games. In the first period of Game 3, they had 8 shots on goal. That's not bad. That's honestly pretty good. In the next 2 periods, they had 6 shots each, and so 12 for the following game. Ended up with 20 in the game itself. So, again, it's tough because I think they've struggled a little bit offensively. And again, I don't think they shoot enough. But one thing is too is like the star players, they haven't been putting the puck in the net. And again, to be honest with you, I'm not worried about it. They're the star players for the reason I'm telling you. Once these guys get a couple goals, they're gonna go off. I'm serious. Like Drew's had so many chances. He's at a couple posts. And I honestly think the last game, I think he's lost the confidence in himself to score goals, and that's why for some reason Drew is now turned into a pass first guy when all he would do would just wire the puck. And I don't understand it because, like, to be honest, I feel like with the power play especially, I would like for them to use Giroux more on the power play. I like if you guys, I'm sure you guys know how Alex Ovechkin is with the Capitals, how they run their power play through him. I wish the Flyers would do that with Giroux sometimes because and again, like Giroux doesn't have as good of a shot as Ovechkin does, right? But even still, it's still pretty good and it's pretty damn accurate as well. So again, if you're able to use that to your best of abilities. But again, like going back to the defense, I mean, Carter Hart has been very good. And the thing is that everybody wants to talk about these posts, right? I have never seen on a national broadcast where they count how many posts were hit in a game. I have never seen that. Never. I swear to God. It seems like they're trying to make a narrative that Montreal should win the series, and it's not true because it's just how good the Flyers have been. Yeah, they're hitting posts, but every post they hit has deflected or gotten a piece of Carter Hart wherever it was. And one thing that shows is that he's in position for the shot. It's not like they're hitting the post and he's, it's kind of like a sprawling save or whatnot. He's in position for it. So again, I feel like they're just trying to make some narrative that the Canadians, well, if they put the puck in the net and they don't hit the post, they win the game. Well, it doesn't matter. You hit the post. Big whoop. Honestly, if the Flyers hit the post, that's not an excuse. Like why is that an excuse? I don't really understand that. But again, I mean, as for the defense, I think they've been good the last 2 games. I think it'll carry into tonight. And to be honest, I think the Canadians are really starting to slow down now. I like that game 2. That was just, I don't even think that was a Canadians domination. I honestly think that was just a Flyers team that didn't show up from the start, and it was just downhill from there. And honestly, I was honestly kind of expecting it too, because it was just like the way that they've been playing. They win 5 games in a row. The way they're playing going into this break, when they won 11 of their last 13 games going into the pause, it's like this is going to happen at some time. And if you guys remember, and in my video, I put that I honestly thought that game was kind of like the 5-0 loss to the Devils at home. Well, the next night, I think it was 2 nights later, they went into Washington and beat the Capitals 7-2 on the road. So that, and another thing is too, is that this team hasn't lost a back-to-back game since January 7th, and that still goes on until today. So again, it's one thing if you get blown out, okay, it happens, and I wasn't expecting the team to go 16-0 and be some Cinderella story either. But it happens, but I think the biggest thing is when you bounce back, that's huge. And that really can give you confidence going into, the later rounds and such.
So I gotta ask you. Let's say the Flyers win tonight. I know you're high on it. We're all high on the Flyers winning tonight, ending the series. What chances do you give the Flyers after today's series to go all the way? Do you like their chances after that? Do you think it's pretty high, or you still
Um,
optimism still?
I'm still gonna take it round by round, game by game. That's just how I am. I don't really like to jinx things. Um, I can see it if they play the way I know they can play. This team will go far, but I think there will be times where obviously they don't show up. Now, will that hiccup like game 2 happen again? I don't know because again, I don't know this team like that, and to be honest, and I shouldn't say that when I say I don't know this team like that. And I apologize for any background noise. My parents just got home. But again, um, you know, I could see it happening, but again, I'm going to take it round by round and game by game, and it's really series by series because again, it's different teams you play and things along those lines. So again, they are the first seed, so that is huge. But there have been upsets before. So again, I'm not, I don't want to say I'm very confident in this team. Going, don't get me wrong, but again, I can see them going far if they play the way I know they can play.
No, I mean I agree. As you mentioned with the game two hiccup. I mean that could be something that could be similar for tonight's game. I hope not. I hope they just go out there and just close the door pretty quickly, and then they can get on. They're playing more competitive teams, and so
Mhm.
do you think that they can really clean up these power play issues, or do you think this is going to be a lingering issue? And if so, I mean even the defense is there, but like you mentioned, some teams that are going to get higher quality shots on Carter Hart, and he's still a great goalie, but unfortunately, I mean you're going to be playing better teams if you win this round, so you have to be able to do the basics right, and then one of those will be at least one if you're getting 4 or 5 power plays a game to be able to convert on that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's obviously it's a problem, but again, it was an improvement last game. I think tonight they'll get a power play goal. To be honest with you, I just have that feeling that they will. Just the way that I've seen this team with just the way that they are, it's just so odd. But again, I mean, yeah, like it is a lingering issue. I don't think it will be that long. To be honest with you, no one's power play has been good in the NHL. No one's power play from carried over from the regular season. Your power play is not going to continue to be as hot as it was when you have a 4 month layoff and you haven't practiced in that long. It's just not going to happen. And especially a power play, the power play takes time. I get it. I think they're 1 for 28 now, or 1 for 29, or it might be even 1 for 30 on the power play. But again, it's been improved. The last game, I thought it was really good. And again, I don't see it really as a lingering issue. What I honestly see as a lingering issue is just them not playing the way I know they can play every night. And that's the biggest thing because there's honestly no reason why they shouldn't play why they can the way that I know they can play every night because you're given a day off, you're able to rest. Now, obviously today is a back to back, so they play yesterday at 3, they play tonight at 8. But every team has gone through that. I mean, we saw the
There's no
Boston
travel
Carolina
too.
series. Yeah, I mean, I think every series there's at least been one back to back game for every team. So that right there, again, it's not an excuse if they were to lose tonight, and I don't think they will. I don't also think that game 2 will be a lingering issue either because I think what the thing was in game 1 was that I honestly think the Canadians should have won game 1, but they didn't because the Flyers were able to shut it down in the third period, and I think they ran out of gas at one point. Game 2, they realized they know that they can compete, and they came out and they just stormed the Flyers. And honestly, the game was over right at the hop, a minute 2 in when it was 1-0. Game 3, the Flyers realized one, they had to be better. Two, I think the thing is when with game 3 is that Oscar Lindblom was at practice that day. That's huge. He practiced with the team in Toronto, and he was also there at the game. They knew he was there. He was on the big screen and things along those lines. I think number 3 was that the Canadians were up 5-0 in game 2, had a power play with about 4 minutes left in the third period when you're up 5-0, and they put their first unit power play out there. That's not something you do. It's kind of respect to the other team. You're already up 5-0. You should put your second unit out there. And Alain Vigneault, he knew of that, and he said in his press conference that he knew that the team would know that. I think those 3 things right there fueled them for game 3, and that's why they played such a comfortable game. And for some reason, I don't really think that this team, has to score that much to win games. This is playoff hockey to a T. These games are tight for a reason. I mean, not every game is going to be 7-6, 5-4 every time. And and listen, I get it. It's a problem when you're not scoring. But when you're comfortable winning games 1-0, 2-1, 2-0, and you're winning the game, then what's the issue? I don't understand. They are winning the games. They're winning the series. I'm not. Frankly, it doesn't matter to me. Is it more aggravating as a fan to watch a 2-0 game than a game where they have a more goal lead? Yes. But when they're winning the game and executing well in all three periods, then to be honest with you, I'm not worried at all because I know the offense will step up. They have to shoot more, and it'll come. Again, I'm not worried about it because they're winning the game. It seems like when we talk about this now, it seems like the Flyers are down 3-1 in the series, where it's like you're looking at them and, oh, well, the offense isn't doing anything. Well, they have a 3-1 series lead. I think they're the only team in NHL history to have a 3-1 series lead and score 5 goals. They've scored 5 goals and they have a 3-1 series lead. That right there shows you how, A, how good the goaltender's been, B, how good the defense has been, and I think C, just the way that the penalty kill has been and the way that they support their defense is just huge. And to be honest, I'm not worried about it, as I said, because they're winning the games. That's all that matters. To me, it doesn't matter how they win the game. As long as they have more goals than the other team at the end of the buzzer, then I don't care.
No, I agree. I think that definitely, I know Gavin, you have something to say too, but I mean, I think that's something we're hoping for tonight. But Gavin, anything else you wanted to chime in on?
Yeah, real quick, Chris. To go along the whole playoffs, is there any series that is shocking you? The outcome right now, for me, it has to be Washington being down 3-0. But is any
Yeah.
surprises to you?
Well, now it's 3-1. They won last night 3-2. To be honest, that's not surprising. I don't think I think after the Capitals won the Stanley Cup, they were right back to their regular season form and they kind of choke. I mean, that's just how they are. The Islanders are a good team. I think they're a dark horse, to be honest with you. I think and everybody looks at them like they don't have that star player, but they make their players play like star players, and that's huge. They have one of the best coaches, in my opinion, in the league. And I also kind of think he's snubbed too sometimes with the Vezina and things like that. To be honest, I think one of the biggest ones is Vancouver and St. Louis being tied 2-2. I honestly could have sworn that I had a feeling that St. Louis was going to come out right on the hot because they didn't play good in the round robin. They go down in the first 2 games, they're down 2-0. Well, then they win the next 2. I honestly could see St. Louis winning in 6. Honestly, Boston, Carolina, that up 3-1 is kind of surprising because of the way that Carolina blew that last game. They had a 2-0 lead for the most part. I think they gave up 3 goals in in a span of 4.5 minutes in that third period. So that right there, that's a heartbreaker, especially when you could go up in a series or at least tie it. Where they were down 2-1, they lose that game, and it should have been a tied 2-2 series. Now you're down. Now you find yourself down 3-1. So again, to be honest with you, nothing really to me is like a surprise anymore from what we saw from last year's playoffs, where all four of the wild card teams make it past the first round. Columbus sweeps Tampa Bay, one of the best teams in NHL history. To be honest, no, I'm not really surprised. Some of them were like, oh wow, that's kind of odd. I honestly would have thought that Arizona would have maybe played a little bit better versus Colorado. They can't do anything on offense. I don't know what it is. That game that they lost 7-1, they had 15 shots on goal for the whole game.
The highest scoring playoff game as well for one team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then that right there shows you how good Colorado is. To be honest, I think there's 2 teams that the Flyers match up well so good against. It's Colorado and Tampa. They all have 4 lines that can play like first lines. They have all 3 good defensive pairs. They have a good starter and a good backup, and the coaching is insane. And that goes through like really the whole organization. I think those are honestly like 2 teams that they match up so well against that I can honestly see going really far in these playoffs.
I agree. And one thing, too, I wanted to chime in on here, you mentioned with the Blue Jackets, we knew the storyline going into it. So it was funny when the Flyers took the 1 seed and the Blue Jackets at 7 would be playing the 2 seed Tampa Bay Lightning. The Lightning aren't as good this year as they were last year. They're still a great team. Regular season, they're great. Last year, they got swept. This year, it took 5 overtimes to win the first game. They dropped the second game. Now they're up, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 3-1, right?
Yep, 3-1.
So what are some of your thoughts on that? Perhaps a little bit of revenge for Tampa. How good would that feel for them? It was such a shocker last year for the hockey world, and everyone's like slam dunk, like, all right, the Lightning are gonna make their way through the East. They're the best team. They're the 1 seed playing the 8, and so this year now it's an entirely different storyline. They're not even as good as last year, but they're looking like a better team. So 2 questions for you on that. What are your thoughts on that series as a whole, and how much of a threat do you think Tampa Bay is against Philly? If we can advance and we end up meeting them later on, I mean, we already beat them in the round robin, but we struggled against them all year.
Yeah, I'll go to the second question first because with the way it is in the seeding, you get reseeded after each round. So the worst possible seed is who the Flyers will play. So it looks like with the way that the series are, looks like the Flyers will be playing the Islanders in the second round. If those teams were to win the series, because it goes by the first seed versus the worst seed possible, and then the other team versus that other team, and so on. So again, you know, and obviously, you know, Columbus being 7, Montreal being 8, those teams would be eliminated. So then right there, I believe the Islanders are 5. I know they're 6, excuse me. So they would be the worst possible team there right there, if those teams were to win. So it looks like they'd be playing the Islanders. As for Tampa, I think the biggest thing with them is that they're able to capitalize on their opportunities. Like when I saw the Leafs, like they just couldn't score on their opportunities. And the thing is that everybody wants to make this big whiff about how Korpisalo's playing good. Yeah, he's playing good. Don't get me wrong, but his job is really easy. I mean, it's not like he's making some amazing saves. Don't get me wrong, but he's making maybe 1 or 2 a game. He's not keeping them in the game like that. He's making the easy saves. I don't think he's given up a bad rebound, to be honest. Honestly, I've watched that series really closely because I think it's the best one out of the East besides the Flyers, to be honest, just because of the way that the teams have played and things along those lines. Plus, there's a big storyline behind it because it's the rematch from last year. I look at that series like the 2010 Flyers versus Boston when they reverse sweep them. They're down 3-0 in Game 7. They come back. Well, if you guys know, in 2011, they faced them again in the second round. And Boston, and excuse my language, the Bruins kicked their ass. They did. I mean, they swept them. I think the Flyers scored 7 goals in the 4 games. They were terrible. The Flyers had no business in that series. So again, that's what that makes me think of, and I think that's where rivalries kind of build in the playoffs. So Tampa Columbus is always going to be like that good game where it's like, Tampa's playing Columbus tonight, or Columbus is in Tampa, whatever. And to be honest, I've looked at that series closely. I like the way that it's been. I like the pace of it. Obviously, the 5 overtime game was insane. But I think the thing is with Tampa is that they know how Columbus plays now, and they know how to attack it. So Tampa has such good offense where, like, Tampa just has so many stars, and they get so much out of their bottom 6. It's insane. They've been playing good this series and really this whole time in the round robin and things like that with no Steven Stamkos. So once they get Stamkos, I don't know. I mean, a lot can change. But again, I like the Flyers' chances versus Tampa. I would pick the Flyers in 7 games if they were to play Tampa at some point, either the Eastern Conference Finals or something like that. But again, I mean, I like the way that Tampa's played. I could honestly see it maybe going 6 or 7. Again, I'm just the way that Columbus is and the way that their coach pushes them, the way Korpisalo has been playing. I'm not saying he's been playing bad, but he's been making the easy saves where it's easier for him and it's easier on his part now. And I think the biggest thing with them too is they remind me of the Flyers on defense because they play the most simple style, but they do it so well where you can't do anything. Like, everything is to the outside if you watch that. And it's the same thing with the Flyers. The Canadians, they had a handful of chances. I mean, they had 5 shots in the first period in that last game, in Game 4, right? And then they had 1 chance where it was a 2-on-1 and they fired it wide. It was like high and wide. It was nowhere near the net. And it seemed like the announcers of the game, like the Flyers announcers, they were trying to make like, they were turning the puck over so much and things like that. Well, yeah, they're turning the puck over, but they're getting back and they're recovering. So again, and it's not like the Canadians are getting these point blank chances and things like that. They're hitting the post and stuff. So that's where I kind of compare it because it's like everything's to the outside. The offense is playing good, and the one team's defense, the Flyers and Columbus, it's been good. But again, the other team can pounce on it. I think it's the same thing with the Canadians too. I think they've played really good, to be honest. For being the Canadians and being fast, not having as much skill, and that's the thing, they can't keep up because in games where you're down, 1-0, and then yesterday, like, they gave up that squeaky goal, the Phil Myers goal, the 2-0 goal, it goes off of Price and in. It's like that is such a momentum killer. It's not even funny. And to be honest, with the way that they were playing, they were getting their chances in that period. And Myers takes that, it's kind of an off-angle shot. He said he was just trying to get it on net, and it ends up going in for him. So again, I look at those 2 series closely, and just because of the way that the teams are, obviously it's a 1-8 and a 2-7, so it's pretty close there. But even still, I mean, I would have to think that Tampa probably wins that in either 5 or probably 5 or 6. I could see it going 7, but I don't think it will.
No, definitely. We'll have to see what it is. Other than that, Chris, as we wind down here the show, thanks so much for coming on again. We appreciate it. Everyone out there, make sure you give them a follow on Instagram, Flyers Fan Mania 93. With that being said, Gavin, anything else you wanted to join in on? And then Chris as well. Any final messages from you?
Well, Chris,
Yeah, guys, just
go
oh,
ahead, Chris.
go ahead.
You got
Go
it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, again, guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Again, I'm always down to talk. So again, I'll definitely come on again if needed.
Well, Chris, first of all, thank you for coming back again, and we're going to definitely bring you back. Hopefully, as the Flyers keep going through their playoff run, and everybody go give them a follow. And final statements from me: Blazers in 6. Blazers in 6. everybody. Basketball. Blazers in 6 and Flyers in 4 if they ever when they keep going. I'm just gonna go like
that. So, well, thank you again for joining us again. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the common places. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll be keeping you updated on as far as timing for the rest of the week. Other than that, thanks so much everyone for coming on. Gavin, anything else you wanted to say?
Zach, have a safe trip, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.
No, definitely. I'll be from I guess we'll call it an undisclosed location tomorrow, which should be fun. I'll be on Wi-Fi instead of hard internet, so it's going to be a interesting experiment. But we should be good to go. Whatever it takes to provide the best sports content here on the show. So thanks again, everyone, and until tomorrow, have a great time. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live